Whoosh! That's so exciting. Okay, let me go to, how do I do this?
I think we should have another round of applause while we're
Yeah.
waiting. Whoa, Linda!
Okay. All right, so I'm going to just speak from sitting down here. And I know we would all rather just be talking about books.
Actually,
because, but there's other things that we have to talk about. So, but I'd like to keep just this image of in our mind. I think it's just the greatest picture of, like, book club. All right, so let's see if I can make this work. Okay, so our motto is, what's our motto? Anyone?
Sail on.
Shout it out.
Sail on.
Sail
Yeah.
So I love our motto, sail on. I'm constantly talking about it. It comes from a poem by Joaquin Miller called Columbus. And every summer we get together and we do a group reading of this poem at our summer, what do we call it? Summer social.
retreat.
I love the nautical theme of it and the idea that, well, the poem is about, you know, you sail off from one shore and it's just this endless journey to your destination. And like there's all these things you have to stop and go, okay, but we're having a meteor shower. Okay, but it's a storm. Okay, but what's the doldrums? What do we do? And the answer to all of these questions is
Sail
sail
on.
on, sail on, sail on, and on. So prepare to get beaten to death with the metaphor of a sailing ship, okay? Okay, so I'm going to start with a quote from one of my favorite books, The Wind in the Willows. Is it so nice as all that? Asked the mole shyly. Nice! It's the only thing, said the water rat solemnly as he leaned forward for his stroke. Believe me, young friend, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as simply messing about in boats. Okay? So, this is an overview of the Berkeley branch of the California Writers Club. So I've been the president since 2017, and I've been a member since 2006-ish. I won a Jack London Award in 2017 for my outstanding volunteerism, which is all about. So I've been the membership chair, I've been the web designer and the web editor, so I've done like all these different things for the club, and that's, I think, you know, what helped me as a president to go, okay, I see the big picture. Now notice in our name, if Ann Fox were here, she'd be proud. Do you notice there's no apostrophe? Okay, and why is that?
Because it's more than one writer.
Because it's more than one writer.
But it should have an apostrophe after the S.
Right, but that's sort of an antiquated convention that we don't do. So there's kind of a double meaning to the lack of apostrophe, and I think that's like a cool thing already because we like double meanings, and it's good writing. Okay. So in the metaphor of the sailboat, the sea is space and time that we're sailing through and the great unknown. The vessel is our community, and the wind is our inspiration. So this is the all hands on deck inspiring talk back here. Now this ship is a very famous and significant ship. Does anybody have any idea what it is?
Can I ask you just to speak a little bit louder?
Okay, I will. So, do you know, does anyone have a guess what this ship is?
Is that the one that Robert Louis Stevenson went on?
No, but good guess. Closer to home than that. Linda, come on.
Well,
2 years before the mast?
No, Linda, she's not ignoring us. This is the Snark.
Oh.
This is Jack London's ship. So one thing I've heard about why he's not a founding member is because he was out on the Snark when they called the meeting. And when he came back, he was like, oh, this is great, this is good, let's go for it. But a sailing ship has a lot of moving parts, as does our club, so I'm going to break it down for you. I like to keep things ship-shape, and so here's a little bit about the shape of our ship. I'm also a poet and lyricist. Okay, so now this in animation is really cool because these things come in one at a time. So I call my little, the way I look at it is the 7 C's of the CWC. I've led a bunch of organizations before, nonprofit organizations, and I think of the 7 C's as part of any organization. So specifically here they are in ours. So first of all, We are a corporation. We're a 501c3 California corporation, and that side of a corporation means that we're educational. So our mission is to provide fellowship for writers, but also to educate the public about the craft and business of writing. So whatever we do, we can actually change our course, but whatever we do, we have to be an educational corporation if we're going to keep doing what we want to do. So because we're a corporation, we have to do certain things. Pretty much in America, what I've learned is anytime you're going to be handling money, you need to be, in an organization, you need to be incorporated. That means you have to have a president, a secretary, a treasurer, and a vice president. So no corporation can legally function without those 4 people, which is why I believe we only have 4 founding members. And seriously, when you think about a community that just comes ebbs and flows, and they're like, yeah, I'm part of this community, and you feel like the Writers Club has formed, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm in the club. But when you're incorporating, it's like you have members who are actually of record. And so I think we had a lot of founding members who maybe, like, by the time we had a membership, fees and so forth, they were like, we're not into that, we're just hanging out and drinking and reading. Okay. So the calendar is how we sail through the year. We mark our destinations, and then we go to them, so with all within the same mind. So the calendar is incredibly important, and I think this is the job of the president in any organization. So just a little overview about our calendar. Most of you know this. Our fiscal year is July through June, which is why we have membership drives in summer and in October, and we have this renewal period in the summer. Now, everybody asks, like, why can't I just join at any time of the year and then my membership just renews whenever I join? We're just not set up that way yet. One of the things that we hope for in the future is to move the whole state maybe towards a more sophisticated membership record system, whatever, so that it can be more automated than it is now. So we have 8 regular meetings. We have a summer and winter social. We have ongoing support groups. We do occasional workshops. We do occasional write-ins. We do occasional outings. And then once in a while we hold a contest. All these things go on the calendar, and they all have to fit together somehow. So as I speak, you're going to understand that when you're sailing a ship, you can't make any sharp or left or right turns. You have to kind of see where you're going. Okay, the second C is cash, and the third C. So our treasurer is Henry Hitz, and he handles all the money in, money out. It's a small organization, so we don't have a lot of that, but our income is member dues and fees and donations. So our dues are our annual dues, and our fees are for each event.
And the raffle.
Yes, and that would be it's kind of a donation, but we don't say that with the raffle. It's more of a quid pro quo kind of thing, if you will. It's actually gambling, if you will, which is why we can't do it at a public library. So I'll add gambling in here. And then our expenses, our operations are, we have to pay for our space here, and our meeting fees don't cover that cost. And whenever we do an event, we like to have, buy some food. We have to do a certain amount of PR. We get our materials printed. Oh, that's all operations. Okay, yeah, we have to pay our bank and our website and all that. So, community support is our Jack and Jenny fund. All right, so if you guys want to take notes about this, this is kind of like the other biggest important thing that we do as a club is communications, how we stay in touch with each other. If you've been to the new member orientation, we talk about internal and external communications. So there's certain things like, for example, our Google group is just the club members. So when I send out the nuggets, just the club members get it. And external is when we're doing PR to anybody who's not in the club, which is our website is public. And so all of these things, I'm going to just go down and talk about these each a little bit, and you'll notice some are internal and some are external. I wrote Terry Tierney down here. He's our secretary. in the executive board, the secretary is the storyteller of the club, keep track of what decisions we make. So, but I meant to write webmistress is Karma Bennett, because that's like a really huge communications job, and a lot of our communications go through the website, which is why that's like an important job. And I just wanted to say, Karma, that's the most important job in the club.
Nonsense, but thank you. Tell me more.
Oh, and I forgot to say about Henry. He's got the most important job in the club. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, I am the most important person in the club.
Now we're
Let's see
talking.
where this is going.
You didn't mention the meetup group. I didn't know we had a meetup group.
Okay, so that's why now you know that. So social media. Okay, so here's what this is your to-do list. Is everybody should be subscribed to our webpage, because then you get like the announcements of all the official calendared items, that they're coming up. While you're there, look around the website. We do have a new website under development that will have member photos and links to our sites and our book covers. It's going to really highlight the benefit of membership by we're going to be on the front page of the new website. But to do any of these functioning, I just need to say anything that we want to do, we need to either have new volunteers to do it, or we need to fundraise. Right now, all of our volunteers are kind of like working at, our level. Okay, so board emails. Each board member has their own Gmail account. You can find these on the website on our the About tab. There's a contact. So everybody, I think everybody has a Gmail account except our board member at large, who's Francine, hand and waving right now. She's kind of like just her function is to be the sort of the ombudsman. If you just want to talk to somebody who's not like a scary board member, you can talk to Francine. She's a friendly face and can bring your issues to the board. Okay. So we have a very integrated system. Our business is built on Google Drive and Google accounts. So all of these Google accounts are integrated within the Google Drive, and all of our leadership has access to our Dropbox, where we keep all our big files, like our image files and our bylaws and that sort of thing. And I should have also mentioned bylaws in the corporation thing. Like, we have bylaws, and that's what guides us. That's our compass. So every member is automatically added to the Google group. We get our nuggets that goes out to members. Member news went out this week, so please read the nuggets, and you'll get to know your fellow members. And just a weekly, takes about a minute or like 5 minutes if you click the links. Right Angles is the name of our monthly newsletter, which goes out to a wider group of subscribers. We operate that in MailChimp, and the benefit to members there is our member news will go out to a greater audience. We currently are in survival mode with the newsletter. We don't really have somebody to fully operate our newsletter. We have a lot of people who step up and then disappear, oddly enough. So we also have a publicity Gmail account that has tons of media contacts. In the past, we've had a club publicist who would amplify our news to local outlets. We'd love to fill that position again. An anthology. The club has published a number of anthologies over the last 100 years called West Winds. And on the board, we've been talking about reviving this anthology and different ways to do that. So watch for news on that once we figure it out. And if you would like to help take part in making this happen, we could use another couple friends on that. Fred Dodsworth has offered to do the publishing part of it. But we need somebody to sort of, curate it and just do the member interface with the writers. But I think a group of 3 people could really just knock that one out. So social media, we have a Facebook page, a Facebook account, a Twitter account, and a Meetup account. And you can connect with us on all 4 of those places. Our Facebook profile is kind of like friends with anybody who's ever been a member of the club. And our Facebook page has a lot of people we've never met on it, but everything that goes on the website goes into the Facebook page. And then everything that goes on the Facebook page goes into Twitter, and everything that goes on the website, or all of our events, also are separately posted into the Meetup account. And I've been handling that, but it would be great to have somebody handling the Meetup account.
What's the meetup address?
So it's meetup.com. /CWC-Berkeley.
What's the Facebook name?
The Facebook name is California Writers Club Berkeley Branch. Okay, that was a really long slide and I'm a little exhausted, so here's another sailing ship for a little poetic break. So my poetry volunteers, would anybody like to come up and read something?
I don't have anything.
Come on up,
I
Cindy.
don't have anything with me. You want me to
No, it's reading what's on my screen. That's all right, Cindy's going to do this one. Okay, Cindy will do the first
Oh, I
one.
thought you were going to.
You guys, this is Cindy Rasicott, who also has like a galley of her new book out that she's going to wave around. Okay, so read this.
Langston Hughes, writing from the 1920s to the 1960s, is known as a poet of the Harlem Renaissance and for telling the story of his people in down-to-earth ways as opposed to esoteric language. He worked many odd man, one being a seaman, which took him to Africa and Europe. Perhaps that knowledge in the ocean informed this poem from his collection, The Weary Blues, published in 1926. How still, how strangely still the water is today. It is not good for water to be so still that way.
Thank you. That was it. Terry's just like beaming over there. Okay, deep breath, everyone. Moving on. This is a lot of information, I understand. Okay, so what? This is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 committees. Okay, so we are volunteer operated, which means that everybody's probably in this room. Raise your hand if you're plugged into a committee or some sort of group doing something. Like everybody should probably have a committee that they're connected to because we can't do it without everybody helping a little bit. So some of these are standing committees and some of them are short-term task forces. And by the way, the president is the de facto member of every committee, and it's that way in every corporation. So the membership committee is led by our membership chair, Gary Durbin. This is Gary right here. Gary is really trying to get a couple more people on the team. We just lost our new member liaison, who was the data entry person for new applications. And so this is like a pretty simple job if you're comfortable with entering data. You log into the database, you fill out the forms, and then you're done. So the complicated part of this job is figuring out like if they've paid their dues. So it's like a little bit of communication with the treasurer. But it's just like, it's a small job. It takes maybe an hour and a half of a learning curve the first week when you enter some names, and then it's like maybe 15 to 30 minutes a month. And then during our renewal season, it's maybe an hour a month. So it's a pretty small job that you can do from home and you don't have to go to any meetings, but you might want to because they're awesome.
Who was doing it before?
It was Linda Zollin. And Linda Zollin, by the way, she's retired from our club for a while.
Oh.
You know, we all have lives that interfere, and I'm just going to say that. So the communications committee is actually like all the team members who run a piece of our communications system. We've got Karma, who's the webmaster, me running the calendar, Christina, who's our speaker chair. This is where a social media person, a meetup person, our newsletter, like anything to do with communications is kind of on this like committee that sort of communicates vaguely by email. But we also have an editorial calendar that we all try to pay attention to. I find, one of the hardest things. Well, I'll come back to that. But finance committee is pretty much me and Henry, the treasurer and the president. But we work together on a budget and bring it to the board once a year. But a couple things that we're doing financially is we are trying to find a fiscal sponsor. And if anybody knows of a local fiscal sponsor that works with arts organizations, let us know. We could use a little bit of help in making this happen because we discovered that the way that our statewide club runs is our statewide club is the nonprofit, but the branches are not nonprofits. So we have our nonprofit status and a lot of our support, like filing taxes and insurance and so forth from the state. But when someone gives us a donation, it has to go to the statewide branch if they want to get their tax deduction. So we're kind of looking for ways around that, and we think just having our own fiscal sponsor would be a great way to do that. So that will allow us to get grants. Enough said. Okay, so programs. We've got all of our programs that I went through that were on the calendar. Every single one of those things needs people to run it. So we have people involved in all of our meetings and running our clubs, and all of these things just need warm bodies. Hospitality committee, there's people who were working together to bring all of our, in this room we've got our coffee and our food set up, which is actually now my favorite person, Hector. Where's Hector? Yeah, he's like, I'll take that on, and he's just bringing it. So that's really a very welcome thing. We've all been kind of potlucking it, but it's really great to have a person in charge there. And then when you come into this room, how does it feel like? People who come and set up are sort of like working on the hospitality. Our history committee, we have a club historian, Teresa Pipe, who's not here, but Linda brought a lot of her information, and Linda and Therese sort of work on the history. And if you ever have questions about the history of the club, they are our institutional memory, and if you want to work with them and learn more, things happen in our lives. I'm just going to say that, and we're always going to need a historian. And so if you're the sort of person who just like adored what you just talked about, get involved and be the keeper of our story. Our groups are our craft groups, our support groups, our critique groups, our action groups. We've had poetry groups. The way that we do groups has sort of changed and morphed over the years. We have our one steady pillar is the 5-page group that meets at the Rockridge Library on Saturdays. So we have a whole weekend of Writers Club. You can go to the Saturday event, and then you can come here on Sunday. But if we have a lot of members who already run groups outside of this club, and if our members, we actually this year we came up with a what's it called, our affiliation agreement. So we actually have definitions for how we affiliate with groups. And if you have a group or run a group and are a member of both our club and another club, you can be an affiliate. That club can be an affiliate member of our group, which means you can take part in our publicity, you can get on our calendar, and you can, as long as you're promoting our group and we can promote your group, it's a friendship kind of thing. Other than that, we have our two work groups that meet on Sundays after our meetings, and that's evolved over a long time. Our marketing group and our craft group, which are going to be a little short today because of our meeting. Okay, so events, enough said on that. The executive committee is the 4 members. The board is a committee. We have 7 people on our board. And the nominating committee is a disappearing task force that appears every year around this time. And this is the one committee that the president's not allowed to be on. Because guess what? Y'all get to elect a new president this year. So I'm sure you've all heard that news, and which is why I feel it's very important to give this overview so that as we move into the nomination process and the board building process for next year, we can really find people who can be the most important member of this club. And really feel like it, and really understand how their job is integral to the sailing of the ship, because we just can't do without a guy up in the crow's nest. Everything's important. Okay. So the third C, that was the 6th C, which is sort of a this is where we kind of move into a more abstract noun. So there's a sense and a feeling of the group that you can describe as continuity, cohesion, or coherence. I put the secretary's name in here because I think that's just that's like the most important executive board job that keeps the continuity. The minutes show like, oh, we made that decision already. Oh, we agreed on that, we voted on that. Okay, we actually are planning sort of together. So having a corporate board is what has allowed us to stay together as a group for 100 years. And it's like process and it's time and it's, but it's how things get done and how things stay together. Our procedures we work them through when we agree on them, and our procedures really hold our club together. And I just want you to see it like, just look at this room and all the moving parts in this room. And there are literally like 5 to 10 people who come in and set up this room. And there's all these little things to do, like putting the signs out, and running the raffle and having a member sign-in sheet. And so when we come together, we actually now, we really have a working plan for where everything goes in the room and, who does what. And when you have that sort of continuity, it's relaxing. When you come in the room, you know that, okay, I'm going to put my junk back here, and then I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. You don't have to constantly think about, like, what's happening, which is why, when we make changes, like, a lot of people are saying, well, we should just, and it's like, it's really hard to just do something because we need to keep everybody in the loop. And so by having these ritual things that we do every year, we have a coherence, and by knowing each other and getting to know each other, we have relationships, and this is what creates our connection. So these are a couple of people. So Hector, Ginny's running the raffle.
Yeah, there's no hyphen in my name, by the way.
Is that right? Okay, thank you for letting us know that. It's like one of the little mysteries of the club. Solved! Okay.
Terry Tierney here?
Terry Tierney, are you here?
Oh,
Dude, he's the man.
And is Christina Deptula here?
Christina is not here, and actually, you guys, Christina has now taken a job on Sunday, so she can't be at any of our meetings, but she's still going to be the speaker chair and help. And she does a ton of work behind the scenes, writing letters to our speakers, doing interviews with our speakers, and you're going to need to do an interview this week with her.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll write to her.
Yeah, so these are the most important people in the club. I just want you to know.
Marjorie, can I do something?
No, I don't think you can.
All right, so Emily Dickinson, considered one of the greatest American poets of the 19th century, did not publish her work in her lifetime. It became known to the public only after the reclusive poet's death in 1886. Her poetry is typically short and full of metaphor. Here she uses the sea as a metaphor for eternity, as if the sea should part and show a further sea, and that a further and the three, but a presumption be of periods of seas, unvisited off shores, themselves the verge of seas to be. Eternity is those.
So that's what it's all about. Okay, so the seventh C, of course, is community, and that's who we are, and that's knowing each other. So getting to know each other is what holds us together. If you go to our website under About Us, there's a cool little map of our state that shows the numbers of members in each of our 22 branches. We have about more or less 100 members in this group at any time. It dips at one period and soars at another, but we do about 100 members throughout the year. And we're one of 22 branches in the state that has around, I think that's the average number, and there's some tiny clubs and some huge clubs. But if you go to that cool little, there's this little map of the state when you go to the About Us page, and if you click on that, it opens it up, and the great thing is you can hover over each of our branches and see how many members are in each of the branches. And it really gives you a sense that there's thousands of writers out here working together, sailing the ship together, and that's just kind of a great feeling to be part of a very large network. So this cool little branch logo was designed by Karma in an Illustrator class, and some different branches have their own logo. We're working on it. This is what we're working on. What do you guys think?
Cool.
I like it.
Isn't that neat?
Nice.
So it might appear on our new website. So just here's a little bit about our community. Our community is very diverse in terms of our writing. In this branch alone, we have a rapper, an alt-right political blogger, and a spiritual guru. Our books are set in India, Thailand, and Minnesota, Ipanema, and Venice, and the American South. Our characters are slaves, drag queens, and AIs. We write memoirs, poetry, advice, essays, fiction of every denomination, plays and musicals, cartoons, and songs. We write about parenting, adventure, BDSM, and squirrels. We have working moms and comfortable retirees and a discreet financial support system for those who need it. We have members of every race, and most of us are either college educated or geniuses. We want to increase the diversity of our board of directors. It is pretty much 3 old white guys, 3 youngish white women, and Francine, too. Our most distant member lives in Michigan, and we have a prospective and former member in Spain, and an artist in Santa Fe who would love to show you around. About half our members never come to meetings, but 90% of us show up to something every year. We are proud of and energized by our diversity, but as you can imagine, it can sometimes be challenging to work together and to make everybody happy. But we are fundamentally open-minded and good-natured. We find great value in companionship because we all share the same struggles in building our writing careers. We are professionals and semi-professionals. Our central board rep is Fred Dodsworth. You guys probably know him. He's not here today because he's at a central board meeting. And our NorCal rep is Terry Tierney, who's the most important person in this club. Okay, so now, does anyone else want to do a poem? We got one more poem here. Okay, come on up, Karma. Oh, you're gonna love this one.
Linda,
Thank you. I studied oral and turn. Prepare for
I
greatness.
have
Okay.
to go. I can't do this one again.
Can we make that bigger?
No, we can't.
Oh, okay. Now, another famous poem by Walt Whitman. Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack. The prize we sought is won. The port is near. The bells I hear. The people all are exulting. While falls the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh, heart! Oh, the bleeding drops of red. Where on the deck my captain lies. Fallen, cold, dead. Ah!
All right, which brings us to our flight to yonder shore. So, when I started as president, I came up, this is really cool. Let me see if I can get this to do that. When I started, on the advice of another president, I created a 5-year plan. We did a lot of stuff to sort of, okay, wasn't that neat? Wasn't that like totally worth all the fun?
It just flew by.
Just flew by. So I've done a lot to, I think, like kind of just solidify like the procedures of this club and tighten all the rigging. And I'm really happy. We have a great team. And in the future, like but the goals for the next couple of years, I'm just going to tell you a couple things this year that are my big goals that are still outstanding, which are the website makeover, creating a membership manual, getting a new website, getting our fiscal sponsor, a new leadership transition, and choosing a CRM, which is a new membership system that we're looking at. So those are all some pretty good things. And when I retire, I'm going to stick around the club and I'll still help with these goals. But I feel like I've given a lot. I've kind of forgotten that I have a job. I'm exhausted. But I just wanted you guys to know what's the momentum is going, and one of my goals for upcoming for the club would be to publish an anthology, update our bylaws. So we've already fixed our structural problem with Father's Day, always having it on Father's Day, but we still need to fix the structural Martin Luther King, President's Day, Lit Crawl, Easter, and the 5-page group 2 meetings in 1 weekend challenge. So that's another thing on the to-do list. And then maybe one day we'll elect a president under 45. And this group, like in the past, this group has really had like moments where like everybody's young and starting their careers together, and then they stick with the group, and then they kind of age out, and then it's like, what do we do? And so we're kind of like, we're past one of those what do we do phases, and we're really in a growth phase right now. But I would really like to see this group in the next 5 years just becoming super energized with young writers who all are giving a little bit to the club and who are the most important person in the club. So, thank you.